New concerns tonight for victims of domestic violence and other crimes after a crippling financial setback for New York's nonprofit community. Team 12 Investigates has learned that dozens of agencies are facing layoffs and program cuts after losing millions of dollars in state funding, many of them reaching out to the Turn to Terra team to take a closer look at what's at stake.
They run the agencies that tens of thousands of New Yorkers turn to each year when times get tough. Raise your hands if these cuts are devastating to your bottom line. But now the people in charge of the largest victim assistance programs across Long Island, New York City, and the Hudson Valley are fearful for their future.
It's an existential threat.
People's lives are in danger.
That's the terrifying reality 61 nonprofit organizations across New York are confronting after losing millions of dollars in state grant money that wasn't set to expire until the end of 2023. Now layoffs and cutbacks to legal services are looming.
There's a chance that our whole program could be shut down.
Last year, Hope's Door assisted more than 1,000 victims of domestic violence.
If this happens, that number can't possibly even be 500.
Other agencies have already started slashing services.
We immediately had to shut our intake down.
And so basically, people who need emergency order of protections are not going to get them.
People like Vanessa Pahucky,
not being able to get an emergency order of protection, I may not be here right now.
who we first introduced you to.
Do you remember the first time that he hit you?
In our special report on domestic violence 2 years ago.
He had broken my nose, I had 2 black eyes, chunks of my hair were missing.
Even though the Rockland mom is safe today, she lives in fear of what will happen in the future when her abuser is released from prison and the agencies that helped her survive are fighting to stay afloat.
I have a son who is happy, whole, loved. He doesn't know a life of abuse. These cuts are taking that away. Women are not going to leave. Victims are not going to leave. They're going to be too afraid.
After hearing their stories, we reached out to the State Office of Victim Services, who told us they were forced to make the cuts after funding from the Federal Victims of Crime Act dried up, mainly due to fewer prosecutions of white-collar crimes. So these women are now calling on Governor Hochul to put $25 million into her budget to prevent future tragedies.
We're talking about not just an impact of today, we're talking about an impact of 20 years from now. Kids growing up in the system, survivors who might not necessarily be able to call a helpline at 3 a.m. and because we're not able to pick up the phone.
Tara Rosenblum, News 12.
We're still waiting to hear back from Governor Hochul's team about the cuts. Meantime, if you've got a story or a problem you want Tara to take a look at it, head to our website, news12.com, and click on the Turn to Terra tab. We've also posted the full list of agencies impacted by the cuts here in our area.